Welcome to Watching the Throne. My name is Chris Lambert, and today we have a very special StorYe with Rob Haze. Rob, thanks for being here. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Thanks for having me. I'm out here in enemy territory. You know, my arch rival. You never thought you would hear us both on the same podcast. You know, it's like Letterman coming on Jay Leno or...
Oh my God. Could you imagine? Oh God. Yeah, because, I mean, Book of Ye ran 2.5 years?
Yeah, it ran from February of 16 to November of 18.
Nice.
Yeah.
And aside from the podcast, stand-up comedy is...
I've been doing stand-up comedy since 2009, and been all over the country, and
nice.
Been on Comedy Central and The Tonight Show, and
pretty good places to be.
Yeah.
Also, Kanye.
Who is that?
That guy. You've heard of him.
Yeah, man. R.I.P.
Yeah, that's 2018 was tumultuous, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it was tough. It was tough. I always saw our show as the Colbert Report. I saw myself as Stephen Colbert, Kanye as George W. Bush, and I just was the ultimate Kanye defender, and kind of built like a whole kind of arc of like I am the Kanye defender. You know, anything Kanye does is right, and you can't really take that stance when Kanye does some of the stuff that he's done.
It can absolutely cross a line it did for a ton of fans, a ton of people.
Sure. I mean, the slavery was a choice, the putting on the MAGA hat, there was so many events back to back to back where it was like, okay, he put this hat on. He met with Trump.
Yeah.
And then that was like a thing. That was a lot of people left after that, Then he put the MAGA hat on maybe like 6 months later. And then he's like, all right, he's going to put out a track. And it's like, all right, this track's going to explain it all. He put out the track with T.I. At the same time, Lift Yourself comes out. And, some people departure there. And then I even gave him a shot. I was even like defending Lift Yourself. I was even like poopity scoop. Like, man, there's meaning behind this. Y'all just don't understand, But then when he went to TMZ, it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like the wind got knocked out of me. Like I felt like I was going crazy. Like I was like, man, like I just didn't expect that, and it felt like, Denim Tears and, all these people posting about, Jeff Koons and Andy Kaufman and like, performance art and all this stuff. And it's like, but nah, like the reason I mess with this person, like one of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons, we can get into all of that. Yeah. But one of the reasons just like how I felt like he was about black people, and it just sucked. And then when he met with Trump and the whole 13th Amendment and all that, and the SNL was the last straw. Just the night after SNL, my friends called me and they were like, you can't go out like this. Like, you are more than a Kanye fan. Like, we can't allow you to let this person,
define
who you are.
Yeah.
He's a millionaire. You can't just go out swinging, and they were right. And at that point I was just like, I'm done. I stopped listening to the music. I really don't listen to Kanye anymore. Like, I listened to an episode where y'all was talking about y'all were on a drive, and one of y'all listened to the whole catalog.
Oh, yeah.
And that would have been me. Yeah. Like, there's certain people who when I'm on a drive, when I'm tired, I gotta play.
Yeah.
You know, and Kanye was definitely one of those people. Michael Jackson was another one. You know, he had a rough 2019. But so yeah, so at that point, Chris was already had one foot out the door when Kanye met with Trump. You know, and Chris didn't have the burden of feeling like he had to defend anything Kanye did. You know. Like when he said I would have voted on Trump, I was like making the joke. Kanye was saying like when you dunk on somebody, you're not dunking with them, you're dunking on them. So he said he was gonna vote on Trump. Like that's him saying like if Trump's right there, he's gonna cast his ballot over Trump's shoulders. But you know, like Chris was already kind of out, so we both just decided like we couldn't do it anymore. You know. And it sucks because we have fans, we have people that follow us and stuff. You know, Kanye didn't follow us because we keep it real. You know, we're not kissing his butt like some other people, you know.
Yeah.
But who runs y'all Twitter?
Me.
You?
Yeah, me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's sometimes where it's like, come on, man. Like you just be out here.
Oh yeah.
Whatever Kanye does, like you.
Well, so
you fighting in the army.
Sometimes, yeah. I feel like I get torn because there are absolutely criticisms I agree with, and criticisms that like I would air if asked about. But for so much of the account, it's like, okay, how much are we just allowing for fan conversation around it? And I also see so much that's put out about him that I feel from the media perspective is missing details, missing like context.
Oh, of course.
That I'm correcting that.
Yeah.
Rather than just defending everything. But because I'm correcting those specific things that bothered me and not critiquing the other things, it's just defense force vibe the whole time. But I'm not oblivious so much to a lot of like the issues, the woes, the concerns, the problems with behavior. But on the accounts, a lot of it's like, all right, let's see if we can keep it moving and provide more of information or perspective. And
well, I was in a place, I stopped following all the Instagrams, like all the like the Kanye Daily, you know, the Kanye fan page, you know. I stopped following y'all for a little while. Like, stopped following him, stopped following Kim. You know, it's just like, because I was in it. Yeah. To do that podcast, you got to be in it.
Day after day.
You know, like, the reason I started the podcast was because that was already my life anyway. I was already in it for fun. Yeah. You know, but then after a while, you know, the more that became mature, the more I was like, I don't like what he's doing. I don't like what's going on, and I'm still consuming everything, still watching every interview, still, you know, reading every article, still, you know, keeping up with the Kardashians, and I didn't want to do that anymore.
It can reach a point, especially when it's getting as not just Kanye's behavior, but the discussion around Kanye is becoming so chaotic with energy that you agree with, energy that you don't, but you're getting so much of it that it can really fill you up. And when you have other pursuits, like for you, your comedy career is still paramount, right? And like me, fiction writing, literature is the thing I want to do, and I can still feel myself like being so pulled into everything that it can be hard to tear yourself away to focus on the creative stuff that you're doing, your own thing. So I think you needing to take those steps and have that time makes a like a ton of sense. And you've been like 2019, it feels like you've been killing it just as much as you've been doing. And
oh man, I just been, you know, I've been blessed with a lot of opportunities, and you know, it's been going great, and I do feel like I have been focused more because I don't have, you know, to deal with what's happening with Kanye, and then also mining through other people's nostalgia. Because that's another part of the was our podcast was how do other people remember Kanye? Like what's your earliest memory? How do like what's your journey with Kanye's music and everything?
Because each episode, you and Chris would have a third guest on, right?
Yeah, we would have a guest, and we would talk to them about, their earliest memories of Kanye. And then they would pick a song, and their relationship to that song, why they picked that song. And then we talk about the lyrics, we talk about the sample choices, and then we talk about the videos if there was a visual.
Yeah. Which, God, so many good videos. But
so many good videos. And I have not watched any of them in over a year.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Runaway. I haven't watched any of them. Like today I'm dressed. I'm cosplaying the Homecoming video basically. And it's crazy cuz I'm like I complete accident, but like pretty much every clothing item I own for the past 15 years has been in some way or another related to Kanye or good music or some kind of like, or some kind of offspring, whether it's, Fear God or, something, right. But something that's related to that camp. And it feels crazy. It feels crazy to try to reject something that's had such an influence on your life. Like I don't really know, I don't see you guys. Yeah. I didn't even know what you look like until you open the door and I'm like, all right, that's the voice. That's the other podcast,
Yeah.
The guys across the hall.
So you talk about like 15 years. What was your earliest memory with Kanye?
I guess slow jams.
Okay. So
like I remember the blueprint getting the 5 mics, and I remember that article and about like in the little blurb about a producer having 6 beats on the blueprint, but it didn't stick with me. I remember I do remember this memory. It was Christmas 03, LeBron James' first Christmas game. They played the Magic, and then the I want to say the Lakers played the Kings. Is that right? Yeah. Because Shaq was still there. That was when they had Malone and Gary Payton. And then after that, my cousin turned on videos, and I saw this Through the Wire video the first time.
Wow.
And it was like, who is this? What is this? This looks cool. And also, like, this is, like, unlike any other rap video I ever seen, It's like a cork board, but it's all these Polaroids, but you look in the Polaroids, and there's videos, and like for an unheard of artist, it was, and the song sounds like anything I've ever heard, but it feels familiar, and then, there's the MTV News thing in there, and it's like, wait, what? This guy was on MTV News, Kurt Loder was talking about him, I don't even know who he is, like, and, yeah, and then from then, I started just paying attention, and then it was like everything he did would top, the next, and then, All Falls Down, and then he's wearing the polos, and then I'm like, yo, that's what I wear to church anyway. You mean I could wear that stuff to school? Oh man, like this is about to be great. This is about to be a great era between, Jay-Z with the button-ups, and it just felt like the year before that, when Get Rich or Die Trying was out, I was so depressed. Like, I was because everybody, the focus was you have to be a gangster. You have to be like you have to be hard, like in every aspect, in things that had nothing to do with being a criminal or anything. I'm just a 9th grader going to high school. Why do I have to be hard? why am I getting made fun of because my jeans aren't, baggy enough? But then I try to wear them baggy, and then I get yelled at by teachers that I'm going down the wrong path. Like, I'm just trying to, like, live and not, be messed with. Like, so, yeah, when Kanye came out, just kind of, it didn't change overnight, but it felt like, all right, there's somebody who, I can be like that. There was a role model, there was like, and it also was someone who's cool. It was also someone who's, focused on getting the ladies. But he also talked about Jesus. But he also talked about, social activism. And I never seen an artist in hip hop be that complete.
Yeah.
Like, yes, and I at that period I started going backwards. Like when G Unit and stuff was out, that's when I started listening to Golden Age rap. So I listened to Rakim, I listened to Public Enemy, I listened to Run DMC. But Kanye was the first person that was like, this feels like a full person. Yeah. It feels like, okay, there's religion. There's also sex. There's also, social aspect. There's also someone who's cognizant of how all this ice rap and stuff looks crazy when you have to buy groceries. There's also someone that, has, family business. Like, no other rapper felt like a real person. No other rapper felt like every aspect of life. They all felt like caricatures of people. Like, and it's like, dang, is Jadakiss like that all day, every day? Like what is he like, Thanksgiving? Like what what does Beanie Siegel do when, he's at Six Flags and he's got to wait on that long line? Like what is that like? And Kanye, you kind of felt like, this is a regular dude.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, but that dimensionality is still...
That's a good word, dimensionality. Gotta add that to the repertoire.
It was really eye-opening. Like, I still remember... I didn't listen to College Dropout. It took me a few years to catch up, but I was hearing the singles. I was hearing, like, songs come up now and then, and just being like, wait, that's the same guy that was just doing... Like, Jesus Walks is doing this new workout plan, is doing Family Business. Like, that's all one guy. And then Late Registration hits, and you're kind of like, oh, okay. He just has that range. That's just him.
Yeah.
Like, to go from Gold Digger to Drive Slow.
Man. Yeah, no, Late Registration, it was cool because I really loved the College Dropout, and then I was afraid that it was like, this is a one-time thing. This is going to go away.
Yeah. And
then with Late Registration, it was like, yes, this is not a sophomore jinx. He made a turn. And, there were a lot of people, like at my school, I remember I got Late Registration the day it came out. It was a lot of people, they were hesitant, and they were like, I don't like it. It doesn't sound the same. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
Right.
And then he was like, yeah, I was influenced by Portishead and Fiona Apple. And I'm like, I don't know who these people are, but I'm going to check them out. Right. And then I checked them out. It's like, oh, this is a whole nother thing. It's like John Bryan. And I'm like, man, like I'm learning about all these things through him. And that was the beginning of me being like, all right, let me dissect. Let me, no pun intended, hey man, they ain't let me on their show. You know what I'm saying? Y'all cool. But you did dissect.
Yeah, I got asked to go on after writing a piece about Igor because he was covering Tyler Creator's Flower Boy. Mm-hmm. And I guess the Igor piece was interesting enough to have me on.
I listened to that.
Nice.
I was stewing. I was like, man. They didn't have the Bookie Yay boys on there, but it's all good.
Have you on now? Whatever.
Yeah, man.
Whatever.
Hey, Dissect, if you listening, holla at your boy.
So Late Registration really got you kind of going down that like hyperlink route, like John Bryan, who's John Bryan? Fiona Apple, who's Fiona Apple, and just opening up.
Sure, kind of... like because College Dropout, soul music my parents listen to soul music, funk music, so you know when I hear Spaceship, I'm like, oh, that's definitely Marvin Gaye. You know, that's definitely Distant Lover. Didn't know that there was, you know, only heard the live version growing up. Didn't know there wasn't a live version. Always was like, why are they screaming? They never heard this song before, you know, but, you know, now I know better. But, you know, Through the Fire used to come on the radio. Shaka Khan, like when, like the end of the video, he's Shaka Khan posted, I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense. We used to make fun of Lauryn Hill's Unplugged. We were terrible kids, you know. She was going
Kids
through a
do
lot,
things, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So all the samples on were
recognizable.
stuff that you know, me growing up, I kind of was familiar with for the most part,
Yeah.
and if not, it was stuff that I could imagine, like, okay, you know, yeah, probably figure where that came from, but. Yeah, Late Registration was the first time where it's like, I don't know where these sounds are coming from. I don't know what, you know, and it felt like a movie, and it didn't feel like a movie that I've ever seen a black person be in. Mm. You know, like I hadn't seen Eternal Sunshine at that point, and I didn't know, you know, John Bryan did the music for that, but I did feel like that's the genre of movie that Late Registration was, you know,
right.
Was some, you know, kind of a darker, kind of a, you know, kind of a sadder, but like mind opening kind of thing, you know, like a song like Addiction. That's like one of my favorite songs ever.
That beat still feels like ahead of the era. Like it didn't sound like anything you should have been hearing in 2005.
Yeah. It was, you know, man, it was incredible.
So did you have the same kind of response to Graduation and him bringing in all of the...
No, I don't. I'm one of the, like, people, like, I was so disappointed with Graduation. Okay. But I get it.
Yeah.
When I saw the tour, I got it.
Yeah.
But it's, like, big sounds. And, like, it's, you know, but it did put me... Okay. Didn't know about Steely Dan before Graduation.
Right.
Didn't really knew about Elton John. Watched his Behind the Music. Watched every Behind the Music that came on. Like I'm that kid. Yeah. If VH1 put it on, I was so about VH1 like at a young age. So yeah, I knew about Elton John, but I didn't know about Someone Saved My Life Tonight. Knew about PYT, of course.
Daft Punk
didn't know about Daft Punk, and now I'm like super into Daft Punk, like, you know.
Discovery, I still love Discovery, like in terms of Daft Punk albums. Like Face to Face still gives me chills.
What's the first one?
The first album?
Yeah, the one from the 90s. What's Homework? Is that the name of it? No,
sounds right enough. There's gonna be I know there's enough like Daft Punk fans that follow us on Twitter that there's at least somebody right now that's going
cringing.
It's this, you idiots. It's this.
Yeah. You know, I see a dude. He walk around New York. He got a dog mask on. You know what I'm saying? But I just can't tell you what. But anyway, me going back and listening to Daft Punk, it was like, yeah, that was a whole experience. And then like, I got the iDaft app. You know, when they were at the Grammys with him, and like, you know. Man, and then the Grammys first time you saw the Yeezys and, you know, the Shutter Shades, you know, the scarves that are now problematic. You know, at the time we're like, those scarves are dope. But yeah, someone else's culture probably shouldn't have been wearing those, you know. But yeah, that Graduation era aesthetically, I love. But I didn't love that album like other people did.
I was in college when it came out.
Me too.
I feel like I talked about this a lot, but I remember that was when I was like, you know what? I think I'm a Kanye fan. I'm going to illegally download all of his albums on the college, like, downloading network. And I started listening, and I was like, I love this. And then I got to Drunken Hot Girls, and I was like, what? No. This is awful. Never mind.
The 808s preview.
Yeah, I had no idea that's what
No
was
one
next.
did.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because the whole 50 Cent thing, I was like, yo, you gotta buy it. Like, if you told me you downloaded it, I'd be like, come on, man. Like, we don't need Kanye to quit, man. We got 50 Cent gotta lose, man. He gotta retire. Like, man, if people were mad at me because, like, some people bought it from the bookstore and they only had the clean version at our school's bookstore. Yeah. And they were like, man, I didn't even know you could go downtown to the record store. I was like, yeah, why wouldn't you?
Go do that.
Why would you not go to a record store?
Why would you buy the clean version?
But they were like, man, I mean, had I known over there. I always go to the record store. I love record stores, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta support them.
There's just something awesome. Did you go to Waterloo here in Austin?
No, I haven't.
It's absolutely... I think it might be closing, actually, though. But it's really great. Like, they just have so much. And they have all these listening towers. You just discover a bunch of music.
This is what I do. I go to the record store now, and I look for stuff that's not streamable.
Ooh.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I got 2 streaming apps. I have Spotify and I have Tidal. So it's like, you know, I have thousands and thousands, millions of songs at my fingertips, you know. But there are things that I remember that aren't available.
Yeah.
Like BG just became streamable. Like Chopper City and Chopper City in the Ghetto. And it's like, man, I finally get to hear these albums. They don't hold up. But I'm glad I finally got to hear them, you know?
Right, you can stop wondering.
Yeah. Man, my cousins wouldn't let me in the room when they was listening to it, and now I finally get to hear it, and it's like, man, I see why.
Get it. Did you get to go to Glow in the Dark?
Went to Glow in the Dark.
Man.
Had a econ final the next day. Failed micronomics. Don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know, terrible. You know, very important. My life would probably be impacted better had I paid more attention in micronomics. But guess what? Your final was the day after Glow in the Dark.
Sacrifices had to be made.
Lupe, he was there. The lights were still on. You know, people was getting popcorn and stuff. Oh, man. People were so mad that Rihanna was on the bill. Now they can tell their grandkids they saw Rihanna.
Why were they mad?
There was a backlash. People were excited about NERD. They were excited about Lupe. They were excited about Kanye and the potential of some kind of CRS thing happening. But they were mad at Rihanna. And it was like, man, y'all are weird, man. Like, it can't just be Dude Fest.
No.
Yeah. Rihanna gonna wear something crazy. Like, come on, man. What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, just enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was your first Kanye concert, or you seen him before?
I saw him at Centennial Park. He did City on the Bricks. It was $5. And it was a bill full of all these other people that were like, you had to wait a long time. But then when Kanye got up there, it was incredible. It was just him and John Legend, and only whatchamacallit was out at the time. College Dropout was out at the time. And we didn't know who John Legend was. He sang Ordinary People. Yeah. You know, it was like, oh, that's a good song. You know, it was like in the middle of the set. Like it was really cool. Kanye had on a yellow polo with the College Dropout bear symbol on it. And that's when he was working on Mascot. That was gonna be his clothing line or whatever. Before it was gonna be pastel. Yeah. I was like, man, I gotta get one of those, you know. Never came out.
Never did. So many unreleased
things, you know. But yeah, for $5. The only time Kanye went on tour I didn't see it was when he opened for U2.
Okay.
I just didn't know U2's music. Also couldn't afford the tickets. Senior year of high school, had so many things I had to buy, so many expenses and stuff. So yeah, I missed that. And he did an autograph signing, and my friend called me, and then by the time I went down to the Verizon store, he wasn't there. But I did meet him one time
What?
when I worked at the airport.
What?
Yeah, I ran up on Kanye, and it was before graduation was coming out, and I was like, man, I bought late registration today. It came out, like, I love it. I love College Dropout, and like, man, you about to kill him with graduation, and then I just like walked away, and he like waved at me, like, and the wave in his face looked like, man, you could have got a picture or something, you know. Like, it was like his entourage. I saw Don C in front of him, and I saw like some people behind him. So I like walked past them like I was walking the opposite direction. And then when I got next to Kanye, I just stopped and started talking to him. And they're like, "Oh man, like we didn't even." But I had to. Yeah. I had to. It was him. Like I look at people's shoes. I saw his shoes first. I saw there was some silver and yellow Air Max 1s. And I look up and I see the jeans, and I look up and it's like Kanye drinking a Slurpee. And I'm like, I have to run up on him. I have to.
When's the opportunity to present itself again?
Come on, man.
Like, absolutely. Man. I'm sure the wave still, like, you're just like, I got a wave from Kanye.
Yeah, yeah. A part of me didn't want to take a picture because I had on my Chick-fil-A uniform. That's a part of it.
Yeah. It'd be so relevant now.
Yeah, no. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Like,
oh, man. Now I got to pretend like I listen to Jesus is King. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. There's a line where he says...
All right, I might have heard it.
Okay. You would have had to insulate yourself pretty hard. I would be very impressed if you had ninja'd your way into not hearing that news.
I mean, I really don't listen to Kanye like that, but I did give Jesus is King a spin, okay. And I did go see him. I did go see Sunday service.
Okay.
In Atlanta. Yeah.
Nice. Did both? Any positive reaction, neutral reaction?
It feels weird.
Yeah.
It feels weird. I feel like I see what he's doing, but it feels gospel themed. It doesn't feel like gospel. Like it feels like this is, you know, it still feels like a Kanye project. Right. It doesn't feel that removed from Ye. You know?
No. Not
the
too
album
much.
he named after our podcast.
Yeah, I can see that. Especially, like, I feel like we're still seeing Kanye evolve it. Like, 2019 with Sunday service at the start, he's just playing his songs, but with a choir. And then now he starts incorporating a few more gospel songs into it. And I feel like there's still... we haven't seen the final form of him going down the gospel route. But Jesus is King is kind of where he was at that point. Sunday service that we're seeing now is still him in this weird, not quite Raichu, not quite Pikachu, like, place of being.
Yeah, but 12 months ago,
yeah,
I'm a sick fuck. I like my dick sucked.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? 12 months ago, ecstasy.
Yeah.
He's having sex with everybody. All his sisters-in-law.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, knowing that he wanted to put porn on his initial website, but also was, you know, had the angel symbol, but also had Jesus Walks. I feel like Kanye was always wanted to be the person that made Jesus is King, but also always wanted to be the person that hosted the AVN.
Right.
So we're just getting the next extreme of the other side. But I feel like that's all there. You know, what's not there is this Trump stuff. That's the only thing that feels like, all right, you've always been the same person, but the person who made Bring Me Down is not the person I see. And now through doing the podcast, we've learned there's a lot of people, you know, that Kanye is a person, but also an entity. And there's a lot of people who contribute to the entity. There's
Right.
a lot of people who contribute to this thing. And so now, it's kind of, I wonder, was Bring Me Down just a contribution? Or is that really in there? Is Jesus Walks really a contribution? Or is that really just in there? Is it really just the people around? Does he really only care about sonics and not the words?
Right.
But, you don't want to be a producer. You want to be a rapper. You don't want to be called a producer rapper. But that means your words are important. But now it's like there's so little focus on the words. But the words is what you fought for.
Yeah. It's specific and then broad. Specific then broad. And the tension between, do you want to focus on this or do you want space on this?
Or do we pay more attention to the people with the words? And you want us to pay attention to you.
Yeah.
So you will present yourself as a words guy, even though words aren't your thing, because you want to be remembered.
Yeah.
Like, some of me feels like all of this is just so that we talk about this man. All of this is just so that we remember him. The whole, like, he doesn't care about Trump or whoever is running. He doesn't, sure, Jesus is king, I love the Lord, blah, blah, blah. But also, you made I Am a God. You made Jesus. You made, a devil in a new dress. You made, you done made a lot of sacrilegious, a lot of blasphemy, a lot of, we were once a fairy tales, a little demon, you know what I'm saying? Cutting you open, you bleeding out rose petals, like, come on, man. Like, I mess with you. I know all this stuff.
Yeah.
I done went on the whole ride. So now it's like, where are we? Where are we and what is this really? Because that's going to give us an indication of what's next. All I know is wherever he goes next, I'm not going to be surprised.
How could you be at this, right?
Yeah, what I am surprised is how he hasn't fallen off. He's gotten to that point of fame that no matter what he does, people are going to pay attention to it. No matter what, like that Michael Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, Anna Nicole Smith, like, it don't matter what they, James Brown, like, no matter what he does, it's going to be on the local news, it's going to be on the national news, it's going to be in the gossip columns, it's going to be on the hip-hop blogs, and, that's a scary place for somebody like that who needs that.
Yeah.
If
you're getting too much of what you want, it can be overloading, especially the moment that you want out of it. If there ever is that moment that you want distance, and what tension is there created. I mean, when you're talking about like the entity and the words per se, it made me think about Family Business. I feel like there's so many fans that are like, I love Family Business, how like vulnerable Kanye's being, how much he's talking about his like family. Mm-hmm. I resonate with that. And then you find out, wasn't his stories at all. He like talked to this woman that was Never Let Me Down, Jay Ivy's like girlfriend at the time, eventual wife, and it was a lot of her stories, and then taking from not a Biggie song. He interpolates some lines for like 6 in the Bed and 3 by the Head. It's like, okay, so he's taking this song and these stories, but they're not his stories. He's the only child. A lot of his cousins were elsewhere. He wasn't having this like family dynamic. Huh.
There's a lot of Jay-Z references and Biggie references, and but I kind of used to like that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that, but at the same time, yeah, no, like when we interviewed, really though, he told us about, Spaceship and how that was like his story of working at the mall. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What? So yeah, like when you kind of get into that, but then it just makes me wonder, who is this person?
Isn't that always the like hard part when you're in the same time period as an artist? It's up to the individuals to have to separate the art and the artist and to find out that line for themselves and to really try to understand, I thought I knew this person. Did I know this person? How much from their work can I really learn about them without ever actually interacting with them or knowing that? Like, as much as you know about Kanye and as much time as you spent with Kanye, there's still this like mystery. And it's like, how nice is it to just be a fan of like Shakespeare at this point?
Yeah.
And be like, okay, I can just appreciate the work and the legend of Shakespeare and not have to worry about him right now.
Yeah. I said several times, like, man, if I was in a Batman, like I was in a Kanye, I wouldn't be going. Well, I don't know, but I don't have to worry about Batman like selling me out and turn his back on me. Although Batman's dad, who knew he was gonna be such a jerk?
Thomas Wayne has been a bit of a bastard, man.
Yeah, didn't know that. But that's the times we live in. You just can't have no lovable billionaires, not anymore.
No.
Yeah, man, Thomas Wayne got to punch people out for no reason in the bathroom.
So aggressive. It's just like, Thomas, you have so much money. Like, calm yourself. Go for a swim in it.
Come on, man. Call the police.
Simple.
Yeah.
It's nice and simple.
They'll mess with you.
So for the podcast, when did you first decide you wanted to start a podcast?
I have a good friend, David Perdue, and he was always telling me I need to start a podcast, like my mind, the way I remember stuff, it's interesting. And I told him if I start a podcast, I got really into You Made It Weird around the time Pete Holmes' podcast.
Oh, okay.
Around the time of Yeezus. And Pete Holmes always asks about your relationship with God every episode, that's one of the like last parts of the episode. And I was telling him if I ever had a podcast, I would ask people about what's your first memory of Kanye? And then he was like, that should be the podcast. And then I met Chris Daniels the day I moved to New York. And Chris was telling me that he was working on a play about Kanye. Uh-huh. And like every different act, there would be aesthetic changes to match the aesthetics of his albums and different stuff. And I was like, oh, have you seen this interview? Have you seen this interview he did with Spike Jonze? Have you seen this? Have you looked at this? Have you watched this? And he was like, no, but, who is this crazy man?
Yeah.
And so then...
Don't make it weird.
Yeah, but then we started talking, and then once I decided to do the podcast, I brought it to Chris, and I was like, like me talking to you helped me... come up with this idea, and we should do this. And then Chris found the network, and then we pitched it to the network, and they loved it, and then we just were rolling from there.
Nice. And then you had weekly episodes then for 2.5 years.
Bi-weekly.
Okay.
Yeah. We were only weekly during the Wyoming, when they were putting out an album every week. Did not know about you guys. Didn't know y'all had already started. And then I think the day we launched, we found your podcast and we were like, oh my God, this is crazy. We just put out 3 episodes and we're but y'all weren't coming out that often.
In 2015 when we started, it was much more of let's record when we record.
Yeah.
And we put out maybe only 8 episodes from when we started in June of 2015. Maybe it was 10 to the end of 2015. And then started January, Travis yelled at me. He's like, I want a more routine. Like, we need to do weekly. So it was only like a couple months that we had started doing more like weekly. We missed like a couple weeks because of Sundance and maybe South by that year. But yeah, we started to get more frequent at that point.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so then it was I felt like crazy because I swore I looked in the podcast app and I looked, and I only saw like Kanye was on Bret Easton Ellis podcast and
right,
like didn't see our podcast. I Googled it and then I don't know, somehow I found it. I think looking for our podcast the day we launched, and it was like, man, this has been out. This is crazy,
Yeah.
But but then I don't know. Somehow we started, the whole Twitter thing started happening, and then we started going at you guys on Twitter and whatnot.
I remember like the first time I was like, I think they're mad. Like, are they subtweeting? Like, do people even use subtweet anymore? Is that like an outdated phrase? I just remember being like, I feel like this is it all just like happiness.
It was never serious.
Yeah, I
but also never established that it wasn't serious. I never said or DM like, hey,
by the way,
we're joking. Yeah. But at the same time, I hope in tone and stuff it didn't come off like, oh man, this dude hates us for no reason. Like, this man stole our idea, now he's mad at us about it. Like, and it really was parallel thinking. Like, really just didn't even know that there was something else out there.
Yeah, I never took it that serious, especially knowing like comedians. I was like, I'm not a comedian, but from what I know of comedians, the dry, like everything's kind of poking the bear, everything's kind of like in good spirits. So I never took anything as like war.
Sure.
But it was always kind of fun to.
And most of the people that talk to me about my podcast like, man, love your podcast. Also listen to Watching the Throne. It's like, oh man, you don't love us like that. You just want. You hear anybody talking about Kanye, you're just cool with it,
You're thirsty. You're thirsty,
yeah.
Yeah, we had the same thing. There'd be a lot of people that like would post, like tweet something about a new episode, and there'd always be, I felt like somebody that would be like, yo, also check out Book of Ye.
Yeah, like, we probably got our fans more riled up, like we probably got them, after a while we were taking shots at you guys and Dissect. Yeah. Dissect made me feel crazy because Dissect, it was like they are taking references that I'm making and then they're like embedding them in the episodes and stuff, and
you're just like, I'm positive I said that, like,
yeah,
who's recording in here? Like, you have a spy? Are you just listening and lifting? Yeah, that's like whenever you're going over the same subject matter, right? There's always that sense of like, that was my thing. Did you take my thing instead of just that parallel? I still remember the articles from when your show launched because I think at that point we had 40 episodes, 30 episodes, 30 or 40. And there were like 15 articles out about a Kanye podcast launching, and it's like the first podcast all about Kanye. And I had that like, what? Here we are. And I emailed everyone, and I was like, we exist, and not a single person responded. And it's just weird to be in that boat where you're like,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh man, that makes me feel bad because I don't ever remember telling, I don't know if our network or like the publicists who work for our network told people that, but I don't ever remember saying we are the first,
which I'm sure could like publicists or just the person writing the article wanting to like exaggerate. I never took it against you guys, but more just the idea of like, man, why can't we get the recognition? And then when Dissect does My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and all these articles about the Kanye podcast, I'm sure we were both like, we're Kanye podcast too.
Yeah. Oh man. you know, and I couldn't even listen to it. I couldn't even listen to it because I'm like, yeah, who doesn't know this? You know, I'm like, yo, get out my head, man. Like, come on, man. Like, but then it was also like, man, they did a great job of finding the clips, putting the clips in. You know, I would just say it, but I would, you know, I wouldn't like edit it and, you know, download it and chop it up and put it in there. This is where he said that, and this is where, you know, and so, I mean, that's respectable. That's like, you know, the next level. But at the same time, it did feel like, you know, if I don't know how he got there, I don't know, you know, but he could have traced from, you know, what we were doing, but maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible. Could have been on Kanye Tiller and Kanye Live the whole time. Were you ever on the fan sites?
I honestly never knew Kanye Live was a thing, and until you just said it right now. And then Kanye Tiller, I had an account in 2013.
Okay.
And was so intimidated by trying to figure out what the fuck was going on and like follow a thought. I was just like, I'm backing out of this.
Used to check pictures of Kanye West every couple days.
Man.
Every couple days, check pictures of Kanye West just to see what Kanye had on. Yeah. You know, when he was going to get juice and stuff. Like clearly, like his enemy, the paparazzi, you know, was against them vocally. Like, man, it's messed up how they won't even leave this man alone. Also, hey, you think anybody uploaded?
For my good side.
Yeah, like, you think anybody got a pic of Kanye? You know, it's so funny because that was his life, like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
you know, like dealing with people taking pictures of him, and now we're all in a miniature version of that. Like we're all like Instagram, especially if you're a performer. It's like I don't want enough clothes so that this makes sense. Like people just gonna see that, you know, I wear the same clothes a lot of the time. They just gonna have to see that because, you know, I'm never gonna have enough outfits for all this Instagram. Every show I do now, they got a photographer at the show. People don't need to see that many pictures of me on stage holding a microphone. You know.
All right. Background changes sometimes.
Sometimes some days are audio days. Some days it's like, hey, don't look at me that hard. Just listen to the jokes.
All of you turn your chairs around, face the back wall.
That'd be so great. It'd be so great if I could just, man, if we could just do it like NASCAR. They just have like little headphones and then, you know, I'm in the car just telling my jokes. It'd be great.
Yeah. So you were on each of those a lot then? Kanye Tiller and Kanye Live?
I'm trying to remember when Kanye Live ended. Well, no. First Kanye had the blog.
Yeah.
University blog.
Yeah.
That was like the beginning of me going on. Well, no, I was already on Hypebeast all the time.
Okay.
Before that, I think Hypebeast started like a year before that. Before that, I was on like the Pharrell had a message board, and then
were you ever on just like AOL 4.0 message boards back in the day?
No, I didn't have internet access like that until I got to college.
Okay.
And then, so when I got to college and Kanye started his blog, that was some of the best. And then I would check it every day.
Yeah.
Every day I would check Kanye's blog. Even when I didn't have a laptop, I would go sign into the computer at work or sign into a computer, you know, in the study lounge, check Kanye's blog. Every day.
There was a filmmaker that I interviewed that says that his career kind of got started because of Kanye's blog.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like curated just the coolest stuff, you know, like there are things that I know about just so many visual things, architecture, like so many things I never thought about before looking at that blog, you know.
I got to interview Robert Perez, who got started helping Kanye with the blog, and then he would go on to be the creative director for Donda.
Okay.
And he did like the Cruel Summer cover and Nicki's Pink Print cover and a few other things recently. But he was saying that he's in Rhode Island and he would go to the RISD, what is that, Rhode Island School of Design library, and just take out books and books and books and make photocopies and send them to Kanye across the country. And he and Kanye would be on the phone for like 2 hours every day looking through like resources together. And Kanye would be like, that's. Or he would just find something and send it to Kanye, and Kanye would be like, great. And then he would post things and Kanye would look and be like, great. Or Kanye would post things, he'd be like, awesome. But just having that space of being in Kanye's blog mind for like that period of time, he said was just like such a creative rush and such eye-opening experience in terms of like what he was looking for and what he was seeing in each of those things. And man, I wish I was looking at that time.
Oh man, there's an archive. I'll send you a link.
That'd be great.
Yeah, like some of the things don't work.
Yeah,
but you know, some of the things do.
Yeah.
And you know, like the stuff he types out and everything. And then after the Taylor Swift thing happened, it just he stopped posting as much. He put his apology on there. He stopped posting as much, and then he made a different blog. And that blog, every post was something to do with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So there's like the sword of Dionysus or whatever, Damascus,
yeah.
And you know, that was posted. Dionysus.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just repeat whatever you say. We talking about the same painting.
Yeah.
But he posted that, and that would, you know, like that's what power art comes from. You know, the head with the sword in it is like a result of that. And he posted, you know, everything he posted was something that was either in the Power video, something that was he posted a lot of the individual things that were in Marco Brambilla's Civilization, which is like the first visual painting video type thing that he did before Power, you know. And it was like all these posts seemed random, but there were no words, no anything. But it was just, you know, all these visual things.
Did Tumblr exist yet?
This is like maybe I don't know what predates what. It felt like Tumblr, but it wasn't Tumblr.
Did Kanye create Tumblr? No.
It felt like there you could definitely make my first Tumblr look like the second Kanye blog. But yeah.
Did he ever have anything on there about Wicked? By any chance?
Did he post that? I remember when there was that video of him sampling Popular from Wicked, and Amber Rose was in the studio with him. That was around the time he was working on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
He tweeted out in September of that year, I've seen Wicked 4 times.
Okay.
Like, I love it. It's my story. And I always thought that was really fascinating leading up to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, because we always argue that Twisted Fantasy takes the structure of Wizard of Oz. Like, you're in the real world, the interludes, the tornado, and then all of the lights is kind of arriving in this fantasy world and the craziness that ensues after that. And instead of going back home to Kansas at the end...
Who would survive in America? Who would survive in America?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so him talking about Wicked before that, and we had already kind of like had that idea and then saw the Wicked thing and we're like, oh my God. So I'm just curious if you ever...
That makes sense. Like, I always wondered like what happened to that beat, because I listened to the Wicked soundtrack because of Kanye. Put me on Jodorowsky, you know, the whole Holy Mountain thing. And
I've only watched Holy Mountain at this point, and whew, what a journey that was.
But that's what the Yeezus tour is supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know? And Akira.
I love Akira.
Because of the Stronger video.
Which is just like the most like anime loving thing I've ever seen somebody do. It's just like very expensive cosplay.
Without any context.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I think this is from a thing, but if he made this up, then what is this about? You know? But yeah, but there's such a rich history of rappers turning movies into videos. And, you know, it was just kind of cool. It was like, this movie had been out 20 years, you know, and at that point, you know.
Yeah,
right?
It would have been 20-ish because
Like,
Akira was like 86, 88.
yeah, at that
80s.
point, yeah, it was like, 20 years. No, and no one in hip hop even looked at it, touched it, you know, and so, yeah, no. So I watched Akira. I watched American Psycho because of him. I watched Truman Show.
Yeah.
Although I always wanted to see it, but I just, you know, took the initiative and watched Vanilla Sky.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, man. I mean,
Just imagine you trying, like, listening to Living in a Movie and then trying to watch all the movies he references. Like, what that would be like. There's a podcast.
yeah. Shout out to you for knowing about that. That's a rare one.
Yeah, I just was writing about it yesterday and, like, saw the video. Because I remember seeing the footage of him holding up DVDs.
Holding up the DVDs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being, like, all excited. And I've always been obsessed with Kanye's love of movies and what that means for his albums. And just, I think that was the first time I heard the full song. And it was just uploaded to YouTube in like June.
Yeah.
So that was great.
It's uploaded, then it gets taken down.
And then
yeah, because I think I saw that like 10 years ago. I was like, this is crazy. But like, man, the movies Kanye has said is the greatest movie ever.
What, between Akira and There Will Be Blood? Or no?
He said Anchorman.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first one that I think he said was like the greatest movie ever made. And then he said Pacific Rim.
Yeah, he fucking loved Pacific Rim.
He was like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Yo, I hated Pacific Rim.
I like Pacific Rim, but at the same time, it wasn't my favorite.
Just use the sword the whole time. You have a sword that cuts through every monster. Just use the sword.
Also, when you're in the robot, what if you're doing some cool like moves and then that makes the robot do some cool moves? And then I was like, well, maybe I'll watch the sequel and then it'll get better. And no. Yeah. No. And then later I found out he tweeted that when Magna Carta Holy Grail came out.
Oh.
And it's like the beginning of like, hey, I don't care what Jay-Z's got going on.
Yeah.
Like everybody's talking about Magna Carta Holy Grail. Pacific Rim is the greatest movie I've ever seen. Like Del Toro, man, the next movie you get is gonna get an Oscar. I'll tell you that right now.
So Kanye being a bit contentious with Jay, maybe.
They're contentious with each other, but people don't pay attention when Jay-Z does it back.
Yeah, that's always...
Everything Is Love was the name of the album with him and Beyonce. You can't tell me that wasn't about Kanye being like, love everyone. And, you know, like, you can't tell me that wasn't poking the bear.
I mean, Ape Shit is in Paris...
In the Louvre.
Yeah, in the Louvre. And they take the same, like, Going Gorillas, Ape Shit. It's right there. And then...
Come on, man.
Why...
Where Kim got robbed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
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 I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, but hey, man, that's the thing that made me different. There's not a lot of outlets where people are critical of the Carters.
No.
A lot of people are afraid of the Carters. A lot of people won't be critical of the Carters. It might hinder my success. But I see things, you know?
Yeah.
And I love them. I love Jay-Z. I love Beyonce. I love Destiny's Child.
They can still do some petty stuff.
But
They're
at
people.
the same time, come on, man. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
I remember first because I got into Kanye, like hardcore into Kanye with 808s, and was just like all
My
gung
man.
ho. I was in Cleveland. It was cold, shitty, dark. My dad had just died, and like 808s comes out, and I'm like, this is what I've been missing. Like, give me this and inject. I just sit in my room in the dark.
When you heard 808s, did you already know about Cudi?
No, I didn't know shit about Cudi. So it was soon after that that I feel like I started to hear Day and Night. Like, it was still my senior year of college, and Day and Night started playing then, and I was like, oh, this is, oh,
Okay, you just a year older than me. Yeah, that was my junior year.
okay. Was that? Oh,
Unless
yeah, because I graduated 09.
unless this is your first senior year.
Just one of three.
Okay.
One of three. They whatchamacallit? I still remember thinking how amazing Blueprint 3 was, and the fact that it had Cudi, Drake, and J. Cole all on it before the three of them were really anything. And
Yeah.
they would go on to be such big names. What movies? I forget what I was gonna. Carter's. Oh, I just remember feeling like such weird tension coming out of the Watch the Throne tour, and feeling like I stopped seeing them interacting as much, which made sense as like, okay, maybe they just need a break, and then Yeezus hits, and it feels like Jay-Z's kind of quiet about it. There's still nothing. Like Kanye as a kid, you don't really see them together. I'm expecting pictures of them with like their kids, nothing. And then when Jay was at the wedding, that's when I was like, it's something troubling happened, and I don't know if it's ever going to be the same.
I think for me it wasn't that soon cuz Jay was on Cruel Summer. He was on Click.
Oh shit.
And they sat next to each other at the BET Awards, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Kanye, Kim, when they performed Click. That was like summer of 13. But when Suit and Tie came out, and Kanye already had issues with Justin going back to the VMAs, and and then he did the Yeti costume. You remember when he had the white like mask on and like the all white, and he was going on rants about how he don't like suit and tie, and that's the first time I was like, all right, there might be some tension, yeah. But then Kanye was on stage when they announced Tidal,
right?
And like that was like what, the end of 14, the beginning of 15.
It was around that point.
And yeah, and Pablo was exclusively on Tidal, but
yeah,
yeah, but that was like the beginning of the end, you know.
I never quite felt like it was the same as Watch the Throne. Like it would never be that again. Well, so do you have a kind of like a highlight from the Book of Ye time? Like,
the Chicago Podcast Festival was dope when we interviewed Really Doe, and got to do live shows, and we had so many episodes that were just like fun, and just like some of the hardest times I've laughed. Some just like, I'm trying to think. I think we got drunk and did Last Call. I got drunk. We did Last Call the day Prince died. And that was a tough day. That was a tough day for both me and Chris. And we didn't even realize each other were like Prince fans. But like, I'm trying to think. I don't know what the highlight. There's so many fun episodes, so many good times. I don't know.
What do you think for you were kind of like the biggest takeaways from doing the podcast, or like the way that the podcast kind of affected you or helped you? I don't know. I know that doing this show has like helped improve like my talking, my outlook and of different things and people, and challenged me in ways.
Sure, my diction improved dramatically, and it's still not where it needs to be, but I'm a way better speaker because of the podcast. I'm way more cognizant of how I sound. I became a better listener through having guests, and it just made me realize, like, I can find my audience. There was a period where people wanted to hear what I had to say about Kanye and something that I'm passionate about. And it that did make me feel good. That did make me feel like I'm on the right path, And I look forward to starting another podcast and getting in another direction and going somewhere else more broad. I don't think I'll ever do something as specialized. Man, this next podcast all about George Lucas, and then he comes out and be like, yeah, man, Jawas are the true, superior race, and then I got to be like, oh man, this ruins Star Wars. They don't even make sense. They don't even have faces. All right.
Sounds like a script, like a guy who keeps starting a podcast about things, and each time it gets ruined.
All right, man. Yeah, man. Next podcast about Epstein, man.
Use your power for good.
Yeah.
What did that? Oh shit, that had me on something, but now I'm blanking, which is always great.
You got MAGA people following you? They mess with you?
Nobody really.
Trump Jr. ever tweeted out the podcast or anything?
No. I had one time where I from the podcast account called Trump Jr. A dickhead and asshole and making something political that was after Jesus is King, because he said something about the left trying to divide us and Jesus is King is something else. I was like, you moron. And there got some responses from MAGA people, even conservative fans of us that I know aren't just Twitter trolls.
Yeah.
That were like, hey. And I was like, okay.
They started coming to my shows.
Really?
They started, man, it really turned me off from doing a podcast. It really it was crazy because, it's this is not me. This is not what I want to, I don't want to be affiliated with.
The energy that you want to be bringing in.
Yeah. Blacks for Trump started tweeting me and stuff. And that's not me. Oh, y'all got it wrong. Y'all don't really listen to what I'm saying, or you don't understand my tone. You don't understand what's happening,
Yeah. That would be, because it's one thing to see it on the social media world. It's another thing when it's in your world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, talking about kind of the break in the distance that you've had from relationship with Kanye's music and Kanye was just yesterday's anniversary of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy something you think about? Is it something that's just kind of off the radar at this point?
Yeah, no, first of all, why are we celebrating a 9-year anniversary? We so close to a milestone. Why?
Yeah.
We had 10 years for 808s, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't as big as I thought it would be.
It's come on, man. Why are we Kanye put out albums every couple years. Every couple years we're gonna have a big one.
Yeah.
We don't gotta do that for the 9th anniversary. Now, I was upset because Complex put out the article saying that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was the best album of the decade. And I wanted to see the rest of the list. And then it was they didn't make a list. Because they was in Hawaii and they got all these pictures. And, of course, they always going to make My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy #1 because they was there.
Yeah.
They wasn't there for Take Care. They wasn't there for, Good Kid, Mad City. They wasn't there for, give me one that I wouldn't say.
Oh, God. Why am I blanking?
1989. They wasn't there for,
To Pimp a Butterfly?
To Pimp a Butterfly. But at the same time, I really didn't even realize yesterday was the second anniversary. I mean the 10th anniversary until like I put it together. Because I do remember that day.
Yeah.
I do remember, the day I saw Runaway. I do remember leaving work, going to Target, getting the album. I remember the day I purchased Cruel Summer. I remember the day I purchased Jesus. I remember, all those I got from Target.
Yeah.
And when Push was like, they shopping at Target, I'm like, hey man, I bought this at Target. What are you talking about?
They have your album there.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess
maybe next year I'll be more excited, but
yeah.
for the 9th anniversary,
It's the 9th anniversary.
Yeah, it's the 9th anniversary.
I guess the last main question before getting into the favorite tracks and top albums, do you still feel at this point in 2019 the way that you felt at the end of 2018? Or how are you currently feeling about everything regarding Kanye?
I still am keeping my distance from, if someone plays a College Dropout and I'm there, I'm going to rap and sing and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
But if I have the aux cord, I'm not going to play Kanye. There's certain things are unavoidable. You go out certain places, you hear certain things, certain memories and stuff. But at the same time, I'm not out seeking. And I listened to Jesus King a couple times, but then easy album to put down. After the election next year, maybe I will start wearing my Yeezys again. When I see them, I do have a visually, I feel like this person is not looking out for my best interest. And in New York, tourists, that's what they wear. When people go to New York and they, out of town, people from the middle of the country, they always have on, 350s or 700s, But yeah, I'm gonna refrain from supporting Yeezy at least until Trump's out of office. That's just how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough. Such a big part of my life, such a big part of my entertainment, my free time. The time I could have been doing anything was devoted to something that I can't even really, it just doesn't feel the same, I did watch the hip hop songs that changed America about Jesus Walks.
Yeah.
And that I didn't feel bad about that. That was really interesting. But then also it was he wasn't on there. It was Rhyme Fest and they talked about the sample, and it was kind of fascinating, But I think with time, I feel like as we can laugh about what's going on now, hopefully eventually,
right,
and time goes on, I don't think I will be as serious about it and as mad about it. But for right now, I don't see myself having that same relationship with Kanye. And I feel like I've learned a lot about stanship and my obsessive nature, and that plays into it as well. And I don't think I'll ever be obsessed with anything like that again.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's just good to be able to get that perspective, whether it's on Kanye or anything. I was obsessed, weirdly of all things, with fantasy baseball for a decade, and every day I'm in there checking stats. I was knowing players average splits or home run splits for groups of years, and could talk about their home and road splits, like month by month splits. And I eventually need to have a point where I was just like, I love baseball, I love this, but I can't let it contain me in this way, and stepping out from that. And it took 5 years of really like detoxing from it. And now I just did like a fantasy baseball league for Forbes because I felt like I couldn't say no to that. And it felt much healthier and it felt good to like have that distance and have that space with something that I felt like had been so dominating. So I think it's good to be able to get that perspective with it, especially with a relationship that was so, I don't know, just intense. So top five Kanye songs.
Top 5 Kanye songs. Okay. Number 1, Can't Tell Me Nothing. That's my favorite song of all time. Number 2, I'm going to say Addiction because we talked about it. I don't know if... I've never ranked... Like, it's like ranking my babies. That's, you know...
can change moment by moment.
Yeah, it could change moment by moment. I'm gonna say Devil in a New Dress, number 3. Okay, I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in at number 5. All right. Number 4. You know what? I'm going to say I have a personal connection to Get 'Em High. That was my younger sister. That was the first song that like we learned together, and I was like trying to teach her how to rap and stuff. And I was like, if you like, even if your friends at school don't even like, they're not gonna know you didn't make up this if you just go, my flow is in the pocket like wallets, I got the bounce like hydraulics, I can't call like I got the sort of like alcoholics. They'll be like, oh, and so yeah, I always have a personal connection to that. And then number 5, I'm gonna go with wise men say never figure out their way. Never figure out their way.
Real life.
Pinocchio's story, man.
Yeah, Pinocchio's story. I feel like each year I get older, Pinocchio's story hits harder.
Hey, man.
That's a great one.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It is a live version that no one heard before. Yeah. It's what I thought Distant Lover by Marvin Gaye was.
Yeah, he actually went and did it.
Yeah.
The madman.
And then it was like, did you hear that thing where like Beyonce wanted him to sing that song, or he played it for Beyonce and she was like, he should like sing that or put that on the album or something?
No.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
Also, she beat him at Connect 4 when he was obsessed with Connect 4.
Yeah.
Blog era. Like the whole Connect 4 thing. Yo, I'm nice at Connect 4. Do you have it?
I don't have it here. I used to be like middle school, high school, and even college. Like, I always wanted a Connect 4 board to be around.
Yeah.
Like,
no, ask anybody who played me. Like I'm a beast at Connect 4. Like.
So is that the thing? Like, if you could have a kind of interview with Kanye at some point, you'd be like, I want to play Connect 4.
Ooh, yeah.
While we talk.
Oh, yeah. No, not while we talk. Like, either before or after.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
Or like a question, make a move. Maybe that's like a YouTube show you could do.
I probably want to do it after, actually. Like, that's a good idea, you know. As a YouTube thing, like Connect 4, yeah.
Make a move, ask a question. Make a move, ask a question.
Yeah. Foreplay with Rob Haze.
There you go. Foreplay with Rob Haze. Top 3 albums?
Top 3 albums. Okay. Number 1, the first 2 I really don't mess with people who don't have the same one and two like interchangeably, but like if you don't have the first two albums in your first two, I don't really want to.
I feel like that's gonna be me.
I mean, unless you put My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy in there, then that's excusable, you know. So yeah, Late Registration's number one.
Okay.
And then College Dropout number two, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy number three.
Nice.
Then 808s, then Yeezus, and then
Pablo or Graduation, or Ye or Kids See Ghost.
Pablo first.
Okay.
Do you count collab albums? Well, yeah, you do. Your podcast is called Watching the Throne. Of course, you count collabs, but
though it's the only album we haven't talked about.
Really?
Yeah, talking about all the rest.
Man, Watch the Throne is when you go back and listen to it, it's like, oh, he talking about cocaine on here. He talking about all kind of stuff that you like wonder, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, no, if you take this literal, then it will explain a lot.
There was an intensity on Watch the Throne that like wasn't there.
Hey man, I don't know what Ye was on. Jay-Z wasn't on the same thing Ye was on, cause like niggas in Paris, like Jay-Z is just being cool Jay-Z, and then Ye is like, we get married at a mall. I'm like, man, what is he on, man? Bougie girl, grab her head. You don't want to dance. Like, man, this crazy man coming in, grabbing people.
Right, like Jay-Z has his elegance, and Kanye just has his like hurricane force.
Yeah, but it's fun, you know, like. You know, Jay-Z's like putting all these like intricate words together, and then Kanye's like, you know, racks on racks on racks, make backs on backs on backs on backs on backs. Like, yeah, man, hey, calm down. But I love that. I remember and enjoy rapping the Kanye parts more. You know,
it was more performance, except
for Who Gonna Stop Me. That's the part where I'm like, oh yeah, I can be Jay-Z on Who Gonna Stop Me. But
I always preferred. I'm looking at the sound wave from you doing. The racks and racks. I always, preferred Kanye over Jay albums. It's just always have been how I felt. But on Watch the Throne, there was so many parts that were Jay-Z that I was like, kind of like what Jay-Z's doing. Like Who Gonna Stop Me. I was just like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, what a great, like, Jay-Z experience that was.
Yeah.
Well, anything else before the last call or last call?
Well, I mean, what would I do before the last call?
I don't know.
That I couldn't put in the last call?
Nothing. So, last call time. Uninterrupted period? Go for it.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I hope the fans out there know that, the Bookie A guys are cool with the Watching the Throne people, and in the war on Dissect. No, it's all unity over here in the Kanye podcast universe. Please look out for me in a city near you. I'm trying to do more stand up next year. Going to start a podcast, so look out for that. Also, I'm on the show on IFC Sherman Showcase. Will be streamable soon. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, so I'll just say that if you got a streaming platform, that might be in a bundle or whatnot, then hit that up. We not sports and we not Pixar, so you know what that means. Let's see. And just continue to follow me in my comedy and art journey. At Rob Haze on Instagram, Robert is the man on Twitter, and Hey man, yo, shout out to y'all. Shout out to Monique. Shout out to Chris Daniels. And what else? I can say whatever I want to say. Yo, mic check. Nah, I don't be No, keep on rocking in the free world and do no. Yeah. Thanks for having me.